Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I would like to welcome you from all over the country and all over the world. I see people popping in on both Facebook and YouTube, and it sure is great to have you with us this evening. I'm here with Tom. He's over behind the controls, taking care of things. And tonight, we're going to have a little bit of fun doing a watercolor technique. So, I talked a little bit about this in my promo for tonight's video, and this is a super fun technique. It's very easy to do. You don't need any special tools, really, if you're a stamper, as long as you have a couple of acrylic blocks. Now, I am going to use kind of a big acrylic block for this one, but I also have a tiny acrylic block, and I have a round acrylic block. So if you have some different shaped blocks, give them a try, because each one is going to give you a unique look. Well, once again, I'm going to say welcome as people are jumping in here. I hope you guys are staying warm, especially those of you down south that are not used to the kind of weather you have. I hope things are clearing up down there, getting warmer. I hope people are getting pipes fixed and you're starting to feel some sort of normalcy again. I know it's been very crazy down there, and we've all been praying for you guys when we see your labels come up and we're like, oh my goodness, we're sending this into that area. So hopefully things won't get held up too long and you'll get your stuff soon. And I also wanted to remind those of you who are joining me tonight that I will not be having a lunchtime live this Thursday, because Thursday is our release party. And so we're going to be doing a nighttime live on Thursday night, and we're going to have our illustrators, some of our illustrators as guests. They're going to be showing you some of the different projects that they've made using their new stamp sets. And I'm going to have the first project featuring the brand new kit. So I'm really excited about that. And Tom and I had some plans to do Thursday afternoon lunch. We had a special thing going, but we're not going to be able to do it now. Yeah, because it's our release party. So maybe we can do it Monday night, which is actually our anniversary. We have a live on our anniversary. Oh, I hope you guys will join us next Monday night for that, because I want to bring Tom on the show, and we were thinking of maybe making anniversary cards for each other. We'll see. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you like my my shirt. It's kind of fun. It's like a little jacket, kind of keeping me warm here up in the frozen tundra. All right. Well, welcome to all of our first timers. I saw a funny comment right before we went on. Somebody was saying, I can't believe somebody already gave this video a thumbs down and it hasn't started yet. That happens all the time. You know, I think there's just a certain amount of people that kind of run through all the new videos and click the thumbs down. But all interaction is good interaction on YouTube. So even if somebody gives us a thumbs down, it does help boost our videos up to the top to be recommended to other people. So the thumbs down doesn't really make a difference. What I would ask is, if you're watching on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss another video again. If you're watching me on Facebook, welcome everybody from Facebook. Let's get started. Okay, so tonight I am going to use this acrylic block for my first technique. How long have we been married? 35 years on Monday, right, Tom?
I'm sorry?
35 years we'll be married on Monday.
35.
35, yes, 35. Woo! 35. What did your dad used to say about marriage? I think the famous line was, eternity is a long time. He was so funny. Oh my gosh.
It's not even eternity.
I know.
I don't know what he was thinking. Well, didn't read the contract.
That's right. He didn't read the contract. Exactly. We'll talk more about that on Monday night. But yeah, 35 years coming up. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. So what I'm going to use for my first one, well, let me show you the different markers that I have here. So I have a few Tombow markers, and Tombow are great watercolor or water-based markers. They work very much like watercolor. Now, you don't have to use Tombow markers. Maybe you have the old Stampin' Up! Markers, not the alcohol ones, but the ones from way back. They probably still have them. And they're water-based markers. They would work just fine. You also may have these, the Zig Clean Color brush markers. They're totally fine to use as well. So, you know, Either one is fine. I guess you could use actual watercolor paint, but that might be a little bit more difficult for this technique. So maybe just try to find a water-based marker. And you don't need a lot of them, just a couple different colors that blend well together. I'm also going to be using the Tim Holtz Dispress sprayer for this. Now, I really like this little sprayer. It's got 2 different settings on it, which I never knew before, but one setting gives you a fine mist and the other setting gives you a more drippy mist, which is great for the Tim Holtz oxide inks and even the Gina K inks, because they will lighten up with, they're like water reactive as well. So this is a great bottle. I know mine is yellow. The water in here is clear and clean. The bottle, this is like one of the very first ones. So it's just old from sitting out in the sun and it got a little bit yellow. If you don't have this, any spray bottle will do. And then I have an assortment of blocks. I'm using our comfort blocks, but of course you can use any acrylic block that you have. And, you know, one of the old style blocks that we had in our collection was this one with this kind of beveled edge. And if you have that in your collection, that might even be a fun one to use for this technique as well. So whatever you have, give it a try. But I'm going to start with this rectangular block. Now, I'm going to use 2 different kinds of paper for this technique. I'm going to use the Gina K Designs layering weight white cardstock. And then I also have some Canson watercolor paper here. And we'll see which one holds up the best. When you're doing any kind of water-based techniques, the watercolor paper seems to hold up really well, although it is kind of bumpy. Even on the smoother side, it's a little bumpy. So when you're using silhouette stamps, you need to be prepared to have maybe a little bit of a more distressed look in that project. All right, so let's get the paper out of the way. I made the mistake in one of my videos a long time ago of having the cardstock close by, and I ended up spraying all over the cardstock, and that didn't work out. So let's start with a rainbow, because you can never go wrong with a rainbow. So if you use the not mono, I'm thinking of mono adhesive, Tombow markers, they make a mono adhesive. If you're using Tombow, I'm using marker 847. I'm using marker 933. Now, I don't know if they have color names, but they're not on the markers. They may be on some of the older markers. They're not on mine. I'm using 055. I'm going to use, I think, well, let me go with the darker blue. I'm going to use 493, and then I'm going to slip a green in here. I'm going to use 245. So I can add these color numbers over on my YouTube channel in the description. All right, so I'm going to start with the yellow marker. And the reason I'm starting with the yellow marker is because I want to go right in the center. And if you start at the top and then you work your way down, you may not have enough room for the last color, or you may have too much room. So by starting in the middle, it allows me to create a kind of a nicely spaced rainbow. So I'm going to just go in the middle here, and I'm going to color some of this marker onto the acrylic block. Hopefully you can see that okay. Plus, if I get any green or orange, if I get any yellow onto the green or orange, it's not really going to affect it that much. But if I was scribbling and there was already orange on there, that might mess up my yellow. Then I'm going to go with the orange one, and I'm going to do that right above the yellow and kind of go down into the yellow a little bit. And then I'm going to use some red on top there and just go down into the orange a little bit. Then I'm going to use some green, and I'm going to scribble that green. This marker is a little dry, so we'll see what happens. It might work out okay. I have a little bit like that. Okay. And then my final color is going to be the blue. All right. Then I'm going to have my paper on standby, but I'm going to keep it out of the way when I spray. So I'm going to spray this block. I'm going to move it over here. So I'm spraying on my mat. And then I'm going to take the block, and I'm going to stamp that right onto the cardstock. Now, just let it swirl together a little bit. Give it a second to do its thing, and then you can pull that up. Now that is such a pretty watercolor technique. You can use a little bit of spray and you can just clean your acrylic block afterwards to get any excess. But if you actually lay it there for a couple seconds, let all that watercolor transfer to your paper, then you're not going to have much left on your block. Now I have my heat tool here and I'm going to just dry this a little bit. I think you can buy individual colors. Even at some of the big box stores now, they have the displays of Tombow markers. I think I saw them at Hobby Lobby, maybe. I think some of the online big stores, you can buy them as well. So, you know, check around, check your local stores. I mean, when our store was open last year before COVID, we had a big Tombow display. So we sold the individual colors as well. So this is kind of a neat look. Now you can see my paper's getting kind of warpy and it also feels a little textured. It does look like a scene by a lake. It does. That looks like the lake and very, very colorful sky. So you can always turn your cardstock upside down to make it bend in the opposite direction. I don't know if you guys knew that. I learned that. This is just Gina K Designs 80-pound white paper. It's not watercolor paper. Now I'm going to put this aside because I want to do one in watercolor paper and we can kind of see the difference. We'll see whether it's brighter or not. Again, you know, I do a lot of these techniques based on old techniques that I've done on the past and in the past, but I don't always try them beforehand. So, you know, you guys are experiencing it along with me for the first time. So, all right, let's do the same color combination one more time. We'll do yellow. I have another orange here. This is a darker orange. This is 925. Let's try 925 this time and see how that looks. I feel like that's going to be a little bit darker. There's some red. Then we'll use some green. My green is dead. I don't know. I must have used a lot of green in my days. So I'm just tapping it on there because it seems like I get more color that way. It doesn't matter. The water will just spread that all out. And then we'll go with the blue. All right. Now I have, like I said, I have this Canson cold press watercolor paper. I don't know what the difference is between cold press or hot press or warm press, whatever they call it. I don't know the difference, but somebody will ask me if it's cold press or hot press. I'm not sure. So it's cold press. That's all I know. So I'm going to spray that again. Ooh, I sprayed on that. See that? Got a few dots on there. That's all right. And then we'll do the same thing on this watercolor paper. Smush. It's really fun to smush it. When you press it down, it just like goes all over. Now I'm just leaving it there for a second. Oh, that's cool. All right, let's dry it. Now you see that didn't all transfer. The watercolor paper doesn't seem to be as absorbent. I wonder if I could do a second one. I just have to try it and see. Could I get a second one out of this? I had to do it. There was a piece of paper laying there, so I had to try it. Okay, so this is the Gina K Designs paper. I love this one. I don't know about you guys, but I love this one, and it's not quite as wet. It has a cloth on the top, like a hairstyle. It does. All right. So these are super fun, easy to do, and these make great backdrops for your solid stamps. Cold press is rough, hotter is smoother, as if it was iron. Thank you, Nancy. Now I learned something. Oh, Roxanne said too. Okay. Thank you both. I appreciate the information. Like I told you guys, I tell you this all the time. I have great, really expensive, beautiful watercolor brushes that I use to dust embossing powder off of my projects with because I don't know how to watercolor. But we do what we can, right? All right, so here's the one that was the second generation, and here's the one that was the first generation. And honestly, that color isn't any less vibrant. So I think I'm going to be using this one, and then I will try stamping on this one as well, but I definitely dig in this one. All right, let's make a card out of this, and then we'll try a second style using a different kind of block. So this is very, very warpy. I have my Misty here. This is very warpy. So there's a couple things that I can do. I can either use my Misty magnet, like up here at the top, which is probably a good idea. But in case I have to stamp this a second time, I've got this purple tape, and I think I will use it down here just to hold that in place. I see a lot of you are agreeing that you do the same thing with your nice watercolor brushes. You use them to dust off embossing powder. Oh, see, we're sisters. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the autumn, do I wanna do that? Autumn silhouettes? No, I think I wanna go with natural silhouettes. So a lot of you have this stamp set. I thought I would pull it out again because you already have it in your collection. If you don't have it, don't stress. I'm sure you have some solid stamp in your collection that you can use for this technique. Okay, so I'm gonna place that right over the center of that. And I kind of like it with the blue at the top as opposed to the blue at the bottom. Although on this one, I should just hold on to this and do a lake scene. I've got to find some of our scenic stamps and do a lake scene for that one. Because I agree, as you do these, they're going to look like things to you, and you can keep them for that kind of project. Sometimes it's just fun to make the backgrounds. Like if you have no mojo, just make a bunch of backgrounds and see what they look like. Super fun. All right, we're going to put that magnet there. And then I'm going to ink this up with Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink. Well, you know, I kind of like the blue on the top. I just like the way it's all splashy at the top like that. It looks really watery. But you could put your red at the top. I just thought it was going to be, it doesn't really matter because it's still rainbow order. It's just backwards. Okay. So now I'm going to use my Chucky tool for this. And make sure I get good contact because I think I'm going to want to do a second coat of black on here, but we'll see how it looks. Yeah, I want to do a second coat. But that looks so pretty, doesn't it? And I think maybe, yeah, I should have done the blue on the bottom, but I'll stamp the other one with the blue on the bottom and we'll see which looks better. All right, there we go. Oh, that is so pretty, isn't it? Look how easy that was. I like that. So of course the purple tape had to tear a tiny bit off, but that's okay because I'm going to be cutting this out with a die, so we don't have to worry about that or my little splotch up there. So let's go with the more vibrant one. We'll do the watercolor paper one because you knew I had to press super hard on this purple tape. I couldn't be gentle tonight, right? Let me get this is deceiving because these are not necessarily in the same spot. So you don't want to just ink up your stamp again and stamp it. You want to reposition it back onto your background. All right, so we'll see how this looks. So apparently I bought the wrong kind of watercolor paper because I bought the kind that's cold press. And I learned tonight from some of you guys that the cold press paper is more bumpy. And I think I like a less bumpy watercolor paper. Now that's just my opinion. Others will vary, but I find it easier to stamp on smoother paper. But we'll see how this looks. See, it's a little bit more patchy, but we'll go with a second coat. And I admit, I do like that blue at the bottom. Gotta love it. All right, here we go. Second coat, trying to fill in the little gaps. That looks pretty good, huh? All right. So there it is on watercolor paper, much more vibrant and a little bit softer on the Gina K Designs 80 pound. So that's a fun technique, really easy to do. And the beauty of it is, no matter what it looks like, even if it's blotchy, in fact, I kind of like it a little blotchy, a little better, it looks great. So I'll put these aside. I'm going to get them way out of the way so that I don't damage them. And then we'll turn those into cards. So let's try something a little bit different this time. Let's go for a more like a masculine kind of color theme maybe, or something that's a little bit more, I don't know, something that's a little more neutral, because I'd like to do some leaf stamping. So I want something that's a little more neutral. I won't use my Misty for this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the round block, and I'll try one of the 80 pounds again. And then I thought it would be fun to do kind of a color combination like this. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I like these colors together. They look really beautiful. I think an outfit in that color would be really pretty, that color combination. So this one is turquoise green. This is brown. And this is ochre. Is that how you say that? Ochre? Ochre. What is ochre? Is it a food?
Okra is a food.
Oh, ochre. So what's ochre?
Ochre is like an orange.
So I don't know what food is. It's just a color, like an orangey color.
Monks wear.
What the monks wear?
Yeah,
they wear
ochre.
ochre? Oh, I didn't know monks had a color theme.
It represents the fire of renunciation.
It represents the fire of renunciation. Wow,
Yes.
Tom, you know like way too much for this show. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so I'm going to start with the turquoise here. And I'm just going to scribble that on this round block. And then I'm going to spritz it off to the side. And then that's a lot of water, but that's okay. Maybe I'll do the watercolor paper for the first one because it's a lot of water. And then I might have some left over. Okay, so I'm going to put this one up here at the top. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, and I have some left. So I'm going to put that right here on this Gina K 80-pound cardstock. All right, so we've got two different looks here. Very bold and vibrant, and then very subtle. So I'm going to clean that block off. And then I'm going to go with the ochre. Ochre? Ochre?
Ochre is the color.
Okay, that's the color. It's not okra. It's not food. It's ochre. It's the color. Oh, going off the rails. All right, now I'm going to do that color next. And the reason why I'm choosing this color is because this is, yeah, I need to get some ochre and eat it. This is OCHRE. So this is definitely the color. So I'm going to use this color next because I am going to overlap it on this blue. And even though this isn't right next to blue on the color wheel, I feel like I can get away with this because this has got a lot of yellow in it, and yellow and blue kind of make green, right? So hopefully my scheme, my plan is going to work here. All right, so this is going off to the side again, and I'm moving these out of the way, and I'm spritzing. And then we'll start with the watercolor paper. We'll do one here. And then we'll do the other one here. Okay. So you can see where they blended together. It is green, so that's not too bad. That's a nice blend. I know this looks like a hot mess, but I think it's going to be really pretty when it's done. So hang in there with me. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so our last color, our final color is going to be this brown. And it kind of has a reddish look to it, almost like a brick red. You see that? If I put it like near white, see how it's got a brickish color? So hopefully when it's thinned out with water, it's going to have a little bit more like a brick, like a fired brick or a burnt umber. I like saying that, burnt umber. I feel like I know, like an artist, like I know what I'm talking about. All right, we're spritzing the burnt umber. It's not called burnt umber. It is called brown in Zig World. And we'll start with the watercolor one. They do look like scoops of ice cream. You're right. All right. Ooh, it's so satisfying when it just spreads out like that. Ooh, I like it. I'm going to leave it. And then this one here. Okay, this one's not very vibrant because most of the water went on here. I'm going to dab it just so it doesn't run too much. There we go. To dab that too. Oh, But that's okay because we'll cut it out and we will avoid that spot. All right. Burnt sienna. Yeah, definitely looks like that. Okay, so now we're going to, I like this design. This whole layout is kind of fun. So let's do a little bit of heating up, or we're just drying really is what we're doing. Yes, I'm just misting. This is water in here. So if you're joining us a little late, this is just water in this distress sprayer. Say that 3 times. I dare you right now while you're watching. Dispress sprayer. Distress sprayer. Depressed. Never mind. But that's all I'm doing is spritzing it with water. Looks like a word. It does look like I spilled coffee. Oh my gosh, it matches everything in my house right now. And this little spot here, hopefully I'll be able to cover that up well with a stamped image. All right. What could you use if you don't have round blocks? Well, you know what you could use? Check your glasses, your in cups and glasses, and see if you have any that have a flat bottom. That might work. Possibly the bottom of a candle would work. Maybe like I just happen to have a little jar here that I use for things. You might be able to use something like that. The top of an embossing powder jar. You might be able to do something like that. So try some of those things if you don't have acrylic blocks. I just like acrylic blocks for this because they clean up perfectly. You know, there's no residue left behind, but I don't know that there would be residue left behind on something like this either, or in a glass for sure. If you're using a glass, I don't think that would be a problem. All right, so I'm going to use, I'm going to use this Autumn Silhouette stamp set because I'm thinking this would make a nice masculine card. Maybe I'll make your anniversary card right now, Tom. So kind of look with just one eye so you don't remember what I'm doing here. And I'm going to pick a couple of these leaves. No, I'll make them a different card. I'll have to surprise them. Anything that doesn't absorb ink and water. Exactly. Yeah, and you might have other things that have really cool shapes that we wouldn't even think to use. What is this over here? Like, okay, so this I have one of my bracelets that broke that I have to send back. But this bottom, this is, I got these at like Bed Bath & Beyond. They're for like butter, for if you're eating like seafood and you want drawn butter, you put the butter in here. So this is nice and flat on the bottom. Something like that would work as well. Yes, I love that. Is it Delise? Embrace imperfections. Oh my gosh, for sure. All right, let's start with this maple leaf. We'll do this one. I think I'm going to use a square block for this. There we go. And I'm going to do them in black because I want it to be a little bit more graphic. However, they would look very, very pretty in charcoal brown. Charcoal brown is my go-to ink color when I want something that's almost black, but I want it to be a warmer tone. So, all right, but we're going to use black onyx for this. And I'll make them both at the same time. And welcome anybody who just joined us. It's exciting to see you all here. All right, so I'll start this one facing this way, and I'm going to stamp it right onto the ochre, the yellow, the yellow one. And then let me do this one too while I have the stamp all dirty and inky. I have to make sure you get it inked up well. Okay, so here we go. We'll do that here. Same way. Okay. All right, again, I'm liking the watercolor paper a little bit more on this one. I don't know about you guys. Yes, faded brick would look really good too. Now, I'll be honest with you. I have not tried this particular technique that I can remember. And as long as I've been doing videos, I might have. You might find a video out there with me doing this and you're going to say, you lied. I didn't lie. I just don't remember. Ever doing this technique using Gina K Designs re-inkers, but you probably can, so it'd be worth giving it a shot. Okay, so I'm going to use this leaf down here. This is another leaf from the same set. All right, a little nervous about that right there just because of user error, my errors. Okay, we'll put this one down here. This color, this is brown. That's what color that is. It's called brown. You got to try these colors because they are, you know, they're amazing and they're different than what they say. I mean, come on, brown, that's a lie, but it is a gorgeous color. It's very peachy on this one too, very peachy. Okay, here we go. Holding my breath that I don't screw it up. Do you guys do that? Every time you stamp something, you hold your breath? It's normal. That is normal stamping behavior. You're right on track. Okay, so I'm going to use this stamp next, this one here. Okay. Yeah, clean your acrylic blocks if you haven't cleaned them for a while. So this one I'm going to put in that position there. All right. Kelly, I don't know when we're going to open the store. I'm so sorry. I don't have a date for any kind of store or any kind of events that we're going to do or anything like that right now. Okay. And then we'll stamp that one up here. Hopefully, there we go. All right, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. Okay. I know it's scary without the MISTI, but okay, there we go. Ooh, I like this. I love this idea, this one. That's a pretty combination, isn't it? So somebody Googled ochre made from ferrous oxide, sand, and clay brownish pigment to a yellow color. Okay, well, that's exactly what it looks like for sure. Yes, hand sanitizer. Great idea, Penny. Hand sanitizer will clean your acrylic blocks really well. It gets ink off of things that you wouldn't think you could get ink off of. In fact, I got some ink on a piece of clothing one time, surprise, and I actually spritzed rubbing alcohol on it, and it really faded it out. Okay, and Tom, remember what I did with your shirt? You got you broke a Sharpie in your shirt pocket. You got Sharpie in there, and I got it out by just pouring Copic marker blending solution on it. So that worked really well too. And that's, you can use rubbing alcohol too for that. Okay. All right. So let's see. Do we have time to do one more background? No, let's turn these into cards because I really don't have another background idea other than using this tiny block. And I was thinking of just kind of overlapping them, going down kind of in different directions and finding some small stamps. So this stamp set is autumn silhouettes. And this stamp set for the one we did earlier is natural silhouettes. So which one do you guys like better of this? Do you like blue on top or red on top? Let's get some opinions here of which one I should make a card out of. So I applied the background just by scribbling water-based markers on the acrylic block, spritzing it with water, and then stamping the block right onto the cardstock. All right, so blue on top, red on top. Okay, we've got, I think, what do you think? It looks like more reds are coming through. I don't know. It's kind of even. The lighter one. Oh, now the blues are winning. People are liking rough edge. Okay, don't be disappointed, but I think I'm going to go with the blue on top. I think. Gosh, I love them both. I'll go with the blue on top, and then I'll keep the other one, and I'll make something else. I do, I mean, you know, I like to have the bits and pieces to make cards when I need them, so I definitely will use the other one. So do you like the watercolor paper that's more vibrant, or do you like this one that's less vibrant? So how about if we call it watercolor paper or plain paper? Watercolor paper, plain paper. Let's see. I'm waiting for the poll. Watercolor. Okay, we got a watercolor, and we've got a less. I know what you mean, Mary. Watercolor, plain, plain, less vibrant, plain, watercolor. Tommy, you counting these?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't know he had to do that. He's got his calculator out, a protractor, trying to work it all out. Okay, looks like I'm going to say the watercolor paper one on this one. So let's do the watercolor paper on that one. Okay. So I think the watercolor definitely gives a more vibrant look. If that's something you're looking for, definitely go watercolor. So I'm going to use my trusty little Spellbinders machine here. And let me back out a little so you don't have to look so closely. Tom, I need you on this side of the camera with me, I think. I feel safe when you're here. It's fun. All right. So we'll start with this one. And I think I'm going to cut this one out using Master Layouts 2. So I'm going to use the stitched die. This is the big stitched rectangle die from Master Layouts 2. I'll cut this out. All right. Let's do that. Wow. This is really warpy. You know, if that happens, just save yourself the hassle. Get some tape. Just tape it down. I mean, why stress out, right? That it's not going to be even. Just tape it right down, and you can see better. And remember, it is very kind of abstract. So it's not perfectly straight. You're not going to notice it the way if that was a rectangle that we sponged using a mask or something. You definitely have to have it a little bit more aligned. The press spray, yeah. I did say that, didn't I, Valerie? Okay, so there's that cut out with that little stitched edge. I know I have a little blotch there, but we are accepting our shortcomings. That was a bad decision to have it in the area, and I'm living with my bad decision. Okay. So now I'm going to use Master Layouts 1 for my other one because I want a bigger die. So this is the bigger rectangle. These are a little harder to tell which one's the bigger one. You have to kind of hold them together and you'll see which one falls shorter. So I'm going to use the bigger rectangle from Master Layouts 1. I'm sorry, the smaller rectangle from our bigger die set, which is Master Layouts 1. So I want to get a little bit more of this in here. And there's a lot here. So I want to make sure I get a lot of it in the card. Okay. I'm not going to worry about this one as much. Okie dokie. There we go. And cut. Ugh. I need to work out more. Okay. So this one is a plain edge, and that's okay. I just wanted a little bit to overlap on the side, on the top and the bottom, but I wanted to keep as much of that as I could. So if I used Master Layouts 2, I would have lost more of that, and I didn't want to lose it. Oh, I'm losing it, but I didn't want to lose that. Okay, so let's cut some black pieces that we can layer on there. Now I have these already pre-cut. I get the feeling that this is already perfect for this one. Yes, it is. So we'll keep that one. That's ready, but I need to cut one down to match the Master Layouts 2. So Master Layouts 2, the rectangle measures 3.5 by 4 3/4. Master Layouts 1, the rectangle measures 3 3/4 by 5. So, you know, you get a little bit bigger of a template when you use the Master Layouts 1. All right, and that should work together pretty well. There we go, looking good. Okay, so I think we need to use some word dies tonight. I did grab a couple word dies because I was in the mood for words. So I grabbed Smile and Hugs. So I don't know if either one of these cards look like I should be hugging or smiling, but I think we can make it work. I'll make the masculine one Smile, and I'll make this one Hugs. This could even be, well, either one of these could be a sympathy card. Maybe the rainbow might be a little bit vibrant for that, but you can always stop at that color right there, and that just softens it a bit. And you could actually start at orange, and then on top of blue, put lavender. So that would make it a little more subtle for a sympathy card, but we're going to go with Hugs. So I'm going to cut these out using some black cardstock. Oh, I just laid wet paper on everything. And I've got some We're going to put that. I've got some, what is that called, Tom?
Vellum?
Vellum. Thank you. Thank you. Vellum. And we are going to have some Gina K Designs vellum coming. It's just not ready yet, but it's going to come soon. So one little trick is when I cut word dies, I've told you this a million times before, but I know there's people here that are watching for the first time, and they will love this trick. When you're cutting word dies, because they're intricate, put them on the sides of your die cutting machine instead of in the middle. And place them on their back so the blade side is up, and put your cardstock on top. They will always cut better that way. There's no reason that they should, but they do. So we're going with it. All right, now I'm gonna cut these two words at the same time. Don't you want to use brown with the leaves? You know, Peggy, I should have gone with the charcoal brown. That probably would have looked really good, but I ended up going with the black, so now I'm stuck with it. But yeah, charcoal brown would have been a great color to use. And honestly, sometimes when I make cards for my videos, I try to make them in similar colors so that they look nice in the pictures. Oh my goodness. All right, so there's my hugs die. And here is my smile. Now, it has a dot for the eye. I don't know if you can see that. It looks a little dark to me, but hopefully you can see that there's a dot for the eye. I'm not going to use the dot because I like to use an embellishment instead of the dot, but we put the dot there because people do need their dot if they want it. All right, I already lost my craft pick. Oh, maybe I didn't have it. That's why. Here it is. I'm going to pop that out with the craft pick, and there's my smile. Now, we could cut a couple more of those and layer them together with some glue, but I don't know that I need to do that tonight. I might save that for another video, and I've done it in past videos. So you guys know what I'm talking about, where I cut several of them and then I glue them together just to make them thicker and feel more like an embellishment. Since I'm going to put this over some vellum, I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I'm going to use these little pieces here because I'm going to stamp some greetings on them, and we're going to emboss it. So let me get my clothespin out. My good friend Clothespin Karen, who I love so much, she works with me. She brought me the clothespins. I always have to give her a shout out whenever I do anything with the clothespins now because she saved my fingers. She is allowing me to get picked up from the FBI for bank robbery because I still have fingerprints. If I ever rob a bank. Tom's looking at me like, wait, hey. All right, so I'm going to start with the embossing magic pad, and I'm going to do a little embossing. I'm going to rub that all over the surface, and I don't want any oil or anything for the embossing powder to stick to. And then we have these cute little stamp sets that coordinate with our love and our smile dies. So I'm going to choose for hugs, I think I'm going to use one of these really small little flags. So sending you huge hugs. That would be cute. Hugs, I'm here for you. Let's see. Hugs and prayers. Oh, let's do that. I like that. All right, we'll do hugs and prayers. So I'm going to use the Gina K Designs embossing and watermark ink for this. And I'm going to use a tiny block, or at least a skinny block. And we'll get the end prayers on there. Now, I'm laying the end prayers word down on its face. And I'm just going to pick it up with the acrylic block. That'll keep it on the block straight, hopefully. And I'm going to ink that up with some of the embossing and watermark ink. I like using ink cubes with these tiny greetings. There we go. And then I have my cute little Sistema container here. And I got the little spoon, the little sorbet spoon. So I'm going to do that. So there's one. I'm going to just put that aside for a second because I'm going to do these at the same time. Might as well just do all the embossing together. So what should I do with this one? I have this die over here. You make my heart smile. Should I do that? You make my heart smile. It's a little, you make me smile. I could use the smaller one too. I miss your smile. Oh, I miss so many smiles. I'm making that one. I miss your smile. That's a perfect one for right now. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to get the vaccine, but I don't know how to get it. Does anybody have any clue how to get it? I think my doctor will probably call me when it's time, but oh, I found out today that my doctor, my new doctor, put the wrong type of diabetes in my chart. And I saw it in there and I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, you know, I know diabetes is diabetes, but it is very different how you treat the diseases. And so I had to call today and I said, hey, you have the wrong kind of diabetes. And they were like, what are you talking about? But they're going to change it. All right. I miss your and prayers. There we go. You got to check your chart. Make sure they have your stuff. They also had a medication wrong too. So you got to check your chart. I know that we have something called My Chart. I bet lots of people have My Chart. It sounds like it might be like a national thing where you can go and look at your test results and when your next appointments are and all of that. Well, it's a good thing to check and see what they have you listed as. All right. So I've got my clothespin and I am ready to emboss. All right, there we go. I like how thick this font is. It's a nice little font. Oh, it's good to hear a lot of you are able to get in and get your vaccine if you want it. This is just a regular wooden clothespin. I think you can get these at the dollar store. I like using wood. Don't use plastic because they melt. And don't use anything with metal because it definitely conducts heat. At least the part that you're holding, you don't want metal. All right. So now we'll cut these with that little flag die. Back with the Spellbinders machine. Yeah, it's just, I think type 1 and type 2 diabetes are treated similarly at different points in the disease progression, but most type 1 diabetics right off the bat are given insulin, where a lot of type 2s are given a drug called metformin. And metformin doesn't work on type 1s because we don't have insulin to, I think metformin makes your insulin work better, and we don't have insulin, so there's nothing to make work better. So we usually have to go right on insulin. And I think that's important for my upcoming colonoscopy, right? People who are here for the first time are like, well, that was fun. See you later. Stay with me. I don't always talk about this stuff. Okay, so I have M prayers there. I'm going to put that aside. And then we're going to do I miss your. I could have embossed this a little better, but for the sake of the card, we'll go with it. And I could tape these down if I really wanted to be perfect, but I just moved it. But I don't want to be super perfect. So far, it's working out. Okay, wow. That's ochre on there, I think. Ochre. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, there we go. I miss your. Now, remember, don't throw your dies away. It's so easy to do. They stick in the cardstock and you just throw the piece of paper in the trash and your die goes in there with it. So always check. Alrighty. Now I have some card bases pre-cut over here. So let me get those. Here's one. And here's another one. I'm going to do, you can do book style for this, but I'm going to do tent style for both of mine tonight. Kind of like the way they sit up, you know, when you give them to somebody and they sit up like this on their fireplace mantle or in their trash can, whatever they do with the card. I don't like those people. They get my cards with crooked greetings, the people that throw them away. All right, so I'm going to adhere this together. Yeah, I'm a little fiery tonight, I think. I think it's because I'm sweating. All righty. There we go. And that looks nice. So now I'm going to cut a little strip of vellum. I hate to hide too much of this, but I do want to have, I like vellum because it doesn't really hide things. It just mutes things. So I'm going to do a little strip here, about a 1.5 inch strip. We'll see how it looks. If we don't like it, we don't have to do it, but it's in my head, so I got to try. All right. So I have this 1.5 inch strip, and I think, oh my goodness, I can't pick anything up. I cut my nails because one broke. I had 9 really nice nails. One broke, looked terrible, so I cut them all. You guys know what I mean, right? All right, so if you put hugs on top of the vellum, it pops off a little bit more than if you don't have the vellum. See how it kind of gets clouded in with the design? The vellum helps the hugs stand out more. Okay, so we're gonna make this, we'll make this like 5 inches. Can I make it smaller? 4.5 inches? 4 inches? It scares me. 4.25 inches will make it. I'm going to see if I can use them both. All right. So we'll put this down here near the bottom, actually. We'll get it way down here. And then I'm going to just do a little line of tape up the side here and a little line of tape up the side here. Then I'm going to fold this over into the tape. Once I have that one side down, then I can pull it nice and tight, and I can do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that's how I'm going to put the vellum on. Now, I could have slipped it under the white before I attached it, and it might have looked a little better, but again, we're not going for perfection tonight. We're getting her done. Okay, so I'm going to tape this down onto my card base, and I'm adding tape over that vellum. That's just going to prevent it from popping out of the card later. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, now we can use hugs, and then we can have that even drape off the card a little bit, and then we can put I miss your right in there. Like that. So that's going to be my layout for that card. All right, I'm going to put that aside and we'll get the next layout done, and then we'll do all our gluing together. So this one, this uses the Master Layouts 1. So this is a little bit bigger. So my vellum may not fit. Maybe it'll fit beforehand. Let's try that. We'll try it beforehand. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there, and this will say smile. I think I went backwards. I think this was going to be the hugs card, but it doesn't matter. They both look cute. Apparently nobody's keeping track of me tonight, and that's a problem. If I say something and then I start going off the rails, you guys have to tell me. Okay. So this vellum is super lightweight. I don't know exactly what the weight is, but I can look on the package and see. It's very lightweight though. It's not a cardstock. It's more like a vellum paper. And I'm going over that again. I can look at the weight, but again, not 100%. And if you have the vellum cardstock, you can use that too, as long as you can see through it. This is actually vellum by a company called Graphics. So it doesn't say how, oh, it says 24 pound. So that's pretty light, 24 pound. And I like it. It's working really well. All right, so this whole thing is going to go onto my card base. All righty. How are we doing? We're doing good. We're going to make it, even if we go over just a little bit. That's why it's great. We're not on TV, so we can go over into the next show, and there isn't a next show. We don't have to worry. Okay, I can switch this around too if we want to do, if this one seems more like a sympathy or sad card, we could put the hugs over here. But I think with I miss you, it's all good. All right. Oh, no. Hugs and prayers. That's what we were going to do. See you guys. Is anybody noticing any of these mistakes I'm making? These bad decisions I'm making live on YouTube and Facebook? Nobody's noticing, huh?
We're just hanging on for dear life.
You are? Okay. All right. So that's going to go like that. It could go like this too. If I wanted to put it over here. I think I like it the other way though. That's kind of nice. All right, we'll put that like that. And then I miss your smile. There we go. That's how we'll do that one. All right, let's get the glue out. So lots of you knew it. You knew what I was doing wrong and you're just watching, or you're just watching me go off the rails. That's okay. I understand. I appreciate it. Okay. So I've got some Connect glue here. So I'm going to glue the word right onto the vellum. And I'm actually going to, it's going to kind of go off the vellum too. And that's okay because that'll kind of help seal the vellum down. You can see I'm just throwing the glue on there any which way. I'm not worried too much. And if it goes on the outside, you don't have to worry because Connect glue goes on white, but it dries clear. So these white parts that you see, you're not going to see it. All right, so hugs, we'll put it up here, right there. We'll get it up onto the card a little bit. And I guess I could use my craft pick to just clean that up a little bit. Get that off of there. If it's really oozing all over. You know, if it's all over your fingers and it's getting everywhere, you can take something like the craft pick and just clean it up along the sides. But once it dries, you won't see that. And you'll see in my photo, because by the time I take these photos, clean up and take the photos and get them posted, you know, these will be all dry by the time I take the picture. So hugs. And then we can put this right on the card with a little tape. Hugs and prayers down here. There we go. Okay, so there's my first card. So we don't have the pre-cut paper. I just use a little bit of a bigger piece of paper, and then I cut it down with my Master Layouts dies. We do have half sheets and of tent fold and book fold. So they're short cut and tall cut. We do have those on our website in most of our colors. Not every color, but most of our colors. So you can get them pre-cut in half. Yes. That was a long answer. Probably didn't need all that. All right, I miss your smile. So we'll do smile here, like that. Clean that up a little bit. And then we'll tape I miss you right there. And then we've got to add a little heart. I like our little heart embellishments for dotting the smile. So they come in black and white, so I'm going to use a black one. They're so cute. And I like to butt it right up against the top of the eye. So let me put this away, and then let me get my jewel picker. And we'll place that right on top, like that. And then I will clean that up. We could move it up a little, but that'll all dry clear. Okay, So there are my 2 finished cards. Oh, that was a lot of fun. They were definitely a lot of fun. And really, the whole fun is in that background technique. Just, you know, seeing what comes out, trying different color combination blends. You guys can try it with reinkers and see what kind of look you get. You can try it with a little watercolor if you want to just take your brush and put watercolor over it and then smack it down. You can try it. I do really like it with the markers, though. I feel like I have a little more control. And, you know, so that's why I showed it to you that way tonight, both the Zig and the Tombow. Super fun. All right, so we got through, we made 2 fun cards tonight. So I do have a quote for you. I was thinking about, tonight's a great example of a lot of bad decisions that I made in my cards tonight, but I learned a lot. And when you're making cards or anything that you're doing in life, you know, sometimes you just make bad decisions. You can't beat yourself up for them. You just have to just make it work, keep going, try again, and learn from it. So my quote tonight, and it's something I posted on Facebook earlier today: good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. It's all necessary for growth. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Remember, Thursday, Tom and I will be coming on live at night, not in the day. So our lunchtime live is going to be canceled this week because we have a brand new release with brand new stamps, brand new dies, a brand new kit, and a couple of cool storage things, including a glue holder and an insert for our brush holder. So I can't wait to show it all to you. Our illustrators are going to be here and we're going to have a lot of fun. In the meantime, I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, stay warm. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.